I didn't think I would be doing this. But let's see. Maybe I'll talk about my recent experience first, and then go back in time and kind of work my way back. So I would say my experience now is very simple, very ordinary, very quiet. Not much really remarkable, or I mean, sometimes it's really just, well, often actually, very wonderful. Sort of a baseline, actually, sense of love or sweetness. But sometimes it can really be like the environment and the body have melted together, and as if I am the river itself, like a big river flowing. Not like it's like a big deal, or what happens, I guess, over time is the contrast of the cycles of the pendulum of going more embodied to unembodied gets closer and closer, so there isn't really like a big difference. So it's just sound and colors and like a cloud of sensation with no separate observer. As any solid thing. There never was, of course, but not even the impression of one. Even though there sort of is and sort of isn't, and it's not like I go around thinking about that. Or that it's anything to try to claim or make into anything solid. There's no reactivity, at least, I mean, there could always be something that happens and I can't claim anything, but, you know, like, as far as I can tell, things happen even in relationship or whatever. There's just nothing here that it hits or sticks to. There can be thoughts about things, but the thoughts are very empty, you could say, weightless, innocent. But nothing heavy in the body. Nothing, no irritation, no frustration, no doubt, no judgment, no shame, no hate, no anger, no sadness. Apart from, there's a kind of different kind of thing if I'm watching a movie or with someone who's really sad or something like that, then I full on feel whatever's happening there, and I can cry and really, like, that river becomes colored in that tender feeling, but without anyone attaching itself to it, and so it doesn't stick. Once that situation has passed, then there is just nothing nothing stuck, nothing carried on, no residue. So that's how I am now. How did this happen? I would say somewhere in my mid-20s, I started to get really depressed and heavy. So I started getting interested in spirituality, self-healing, psychology, trying to learn as much as I could about who I am, and trying different things that made me feel better, like exercising, running, doing yoga. That's also around the time I discovered the suffering of animals, and deciding to not eat anything that caused the suffering of animals anymore. It all kind of came around the same time. So that was sort of the beginning. One of the key people that I found at that time was Eckhart Tolle, and his books and his videos, and just his presence on screen just helped a lot. But life went on, cycles of really bad suffering, depression, and feeling okay, feeling functional. For a while, life went on. Maybe, I had this strange thing where my body started to demand to be exhausted, like through exercise. First it was running, so it was like a minimum of an hour a day where I had to do that. Otherwise, especially my legs, my body would feel very, very, very uncomfortable. I wouldn't be able to sleep or concentrate on work and things like that very well if I didn't do it. So the body knew what to do. It's like something cracked open, and it was like, okay, we're starting the process. So that went on for a long time. It felt like a curse and a blessing at the same time, I would say, because I didn't really love to do it, but I knew at least it was really healthy, and it felt really good. Of course, exercise feels good afterwards. Everyone knows that. But I didn't really know what was happening, really, of course, especially in the beginning. All these things you kind of figure out in hindsight, like, oh, that was the path. Of course, did meditation here and there as well. And something happened about 4 years ago almost. This is, I would say, the biggest shift in my experience as like a moment. Everything in my path has been very gradual, but there was this clear moment for me, and for everyone it's very unique. So yeah, it was just this moment of clarity, like the whole operating system updated in a moment, and I just looked around and said to myself, oh, it was always here, it was always this. Just so obvious, so clear, and kind of like life before that was lived through looking at like the little what do you call, like the little lens that you see through a door to look at who's outside the door, and now it's like you actually open the whole door, and really see who's out there and meet them or the outside world or whatever. And I know that sounds maybe dramatic and but it's very ordinary as well. It's not like anything really changed in any physical way. It's not like everything looked the same but different. Very difficult to imagine such things, but it can't really be. It's just an image if it's imagined. And so from that point, something really shifted, and I could then really clearly see my own thoughts, and I spent the first couple of weeks just laughing a lot at the thoughts that were coming through, and I was like, I can't believe I used to take these seriously and that they felt so heavy and real. So that's when even before that I was already, I was watching Lisa Cairns and getting into more direct, you could say, non-duality teachers, even though really Eckhart Tolle he just speaks maybe from a more personal, practical perspective, kind of like a bridge between like thick egoic identification and really being on the awakening path, even though those aren't separate, of course. That's when I ordered some books when that big shift happened. I kind of thought, well, there's only this, and that's very clear, but I know somehow that this isn't like that I wanted to honor whatever was happening. And keep going, I guess. So one of the books that I ordered was a Ramana Maharshi teachings collection, and Nisargadatta Maharaj, and Angelo Dillulo's what was it? Awake, It's Your Turn, I think. Really helpful books. And Angelo's videos are really amazing as well. So I just I watched a lot of different teachers, and after that shift, before the shift, like meditation was still very like difficult, and just didn't feel inspired to do it, I guess. Like 20 minutes would be really a long effort to do, I guess. It just wasn't something that I did on a regular basis. But after the shift, it was just like, oh, okay, let's go. And I found that instantly I could sit for very long periods of time, like over an hour easily, and it would feel nice and interesting and deep, and Yeah, just all kinds of things, energetic things, or started happening instantly. So it was just fascinating and inspiring to sit. So it wasn't like a chore anymore. It was just something that was really natural and enjoyable, even though at the same time that shift didn't get rid of all of the emotional shadow material and the self-structural material that was still there. But that's the main thing that I was really doing during my new long sits, and even outside of my meditation sits, pretty much all day long. It was kind of like mostly what I was doing was to feel the contracted tightnesses that I had mainly in the heart area of the body for me. So what the shift did was it kind of opened up my awareness or perspective or capacity to observe inside the body, you could say. And with that new clarity, the ability to feel really directly and deeply into the structures of the ego, the emotional shadow, trauma, somatic densities in the body, which I think we all have access to anyway, but it's just as your awareness gets wider, the more you're able to reach into subtler and subtler layers, like peeling an onion or going down in the iceberg. Like what's visible on the top of the surface of the water of the iceberg is like the embodied outward surface self, and then this really deep sometimes it feels never ending, but just really deep structures of ice that's under the water that you're now able to go down and feel and love. You find that your attention is love. Attention itself is the divine, unconditional love. And we, by feeling into all of this dense energy, this repressed material that we have been holding in the body. And by just feeling, by being with this density, layer by layer, it melts away and sort of returns back to what it always was but couldn't be, because it hadn't met that unconditional love, like sitting there in the shadow and couldn't feel the light. So that went on for quite some time. It became really like I said, like main thing that I was doing, apart from occasionally, like I'm a musician and artist, and I would make things whenever I could, but it was pretty intense. Just feeling and feeling and feeling and sitting, meditating at least a couple hours a day. Some actually more if you include the yoga. So I did at least an hour or 90 minutes yoga every day. And I also lived near a really nice park, so I would go every day, maybe 2-3 times a day sometimes, just to be in nature, walk around. So yeah, like a real monastic kind of life, where that spiritual work was central. It was intense. Sometimes just like, I wouldn't say suffering, like suffering, at least with the way that I use the word, kind of ended with that shift, in the sense that there's no longer like any belief that, hard to describe, but anyway, it's like I wasn't suffering anymore, but it was really challenging. Anyway, it was like, okay, it wasn't the same kind of, there's no more depression in that old way. There's no more anxiety in that old way. because it's so obvious that there is only this present moment, and it's just the experience changes subtly but drastically. And it's just not like that anymore. But it's maybe even more intense. But also there's a beauty to it. Just surrendered into this unfolding, sometimes very violent feeling, very like crucifix sort of, like, holy crap, you know. A lot of energy, strange energetic movement, not waking up like 100 times in the night, you know, having to increase the time and intensity of the yoga even. But fast forward a few years, and it's sort of just calmed down, like the sun set. Slowly, the sun set into just a simple, quiet, and that kind of puts us back to where I am now, I guess. And I see that I've spoken for almost 40 minutes already. So maybe I'll try uploading this. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to leave them in the comments. I have no plans. I actually had no idea I'd be doing this. I haven't been thinking about doing this. It's a surprise. But why not? I think part of the inspiration might be that I've been learning a lot about what's happening in the world, and there is a lot of darkness, a lot of suffering, and it's not like I have an identity or a perspective of wanting to help in any serious way, or that, it's not like that. It's not like I see myself as a teacher, or I don't know, like a force of love or whatever, that I want to do something good, or there's no plan or purpose or desire or wanting to change, like make a change or whatever. It's just not like that. Like, there's no density in this body to have those kinds of, that whole structure, that whole mechanism of self is largely, I would say, or just gone. And but if I had to make up a reason, or just, I guess I don't know, with curiosity and playfulness, just like in wonder and in a sort of like, oh, that's interesting, I'm recording a video like this, when I really didn't think I would be like but yeah, let's see. Maybe this is the first and the last. Maybe it keeps going. I have no idea. I have no plan. All right.